So I'm Stephen Wells. I live in Perth in Claremont. The boat's at Hillary's Marina, and we were, I think, the first boat actually in Hillary's. Dad and I built this. It took 10 years. Dad's experience, he was a master craftsman. He got this design by Raymond Hunt, who's a naval architect out of the States. So he designed this specifically for West Australian waters. It's cold moulded ply and Oregon and Queensland cedar. So nothing in terms of quality or finish was spared, and that's why it took 10 long years. He ran a fabrication business, stainless steel and aluminium, did a lot of work on boats, and this is a testimony to his skill. Every piece of stainless steel and aluminium on the boat he made. So it was originally built to survey, so it's got stainless steel bilge lines, it's every piece, the raw water intakes, the original exhausts, everything was handmade. We had V6 53 series GMs in this from day one, and great motors, but bloody, they sounded beautiful, really noisy, you couldn't hear yourself speak. And the boat was just slightly underpowered, and with the GMs, top speed was like 20 knots, and I had to make a decision as to whether I was going to sell the boat or redo it, and I made the decision to redo it. Part of that was the motors, the GMs were old technology, and I thought, stuff it, I'll do the right thing and get the boat right, including I wanted to see the boat really have the right power. I came across Mark at the boat business and we started talking about it, and he suggested have a look at the V8 diesel, which I ended up getting, which is a 335 horsepower. They just seemed right for the boat. They were half the weight, or less than half the weight of the GMs. Fantastic power to weight ratio, and super fuel efficient. When I looked at these, and they've got the continuous turbo, there's no kicking into the turbo. And when I looked at motors, that was one thing that really impressed me about these, that it's got the continuous power coming through. Just makes it very smooth and very efficient. Well, at about 2,500 revs, it's just on 20 litres an hour, and funny, it's looking on the weekend, I was doing 2,900 revs, and it was about just on 30 litres an hour, and I was doing 23 knots. It was, just fantastic. It's taken me a long time to get used to the digital stuff, but they're so responsive. You've got so many options. I'm still getting used to the gauges, yeah, just incredibly sensitive in terms of the capability to sort of match your the two engines and get exactly what you want. The docking facility, yeah, fantastic. So it's 36 feet. I think the beam is 11 feet. Weight now is 7 tonne. This used to weigh 10 tonne because it was over-engineered. Everything was over-engineered. The power and the smoothness of the power. There's no vibration. Having had GMs, just how quiet they are. The fuel efficiency, is, in my view, kind of quite astounding. And I mean, the look of them is fantastic. They're V8, so they've still got a good sound. They're not tinny. Dad was like the quintessential old man in the sea, and I really wanted to. There's so much emotion in this boat, and the fact we built it together, and we used to go fishing and just spend time together. And I really wanted to do justice to his legacy. So it took me a year to refurb this boat, and I wanted to make the right decision on the motors. I was able to, he died 2 years ago, just before the boat kind of went back in the water. But I was able to actually get him on the boat, and I literally had to carry him up on my back because he wasn't well. And I sort of opened up the engine boxes and showed him the motors, and he goes, "Oh yeah, they're fantastic." But I guarantee you, if he was around, you know, he'd still be hanging on to the GMs. But you know, it is. I want to honour his legacy, and that's why you know, with the refurb, I kind of made sure everything's done properly. Nothing's half-assed, and same with the motors. I just wanted the right motors, as I said, to give the boat the chance to get up and go like I always thought it should have been, and it was originally designed for. My dealer is Mark Shorto at the Boat Business. Sort of came across him because the boat was refurbed down at Henderson, and his shop was just around the corner. In my dealings with him, he just delivers, and you know, I trust him implicitly with all the stuff that he does. He's never let me down. He always, you know, sort of does what he says he's going to do. Yeah, I couldn't be happier with that relationship. I've always said to him when I've dealt with him, for me it's about, and having been on the ocean all my life, it's about knowing or having confidence in your motors, and he's given me that confidence, and these motors have as well.
Ultimately, the decision was made for Steve to go with these V8 TDI twin turbo. We put it in the water, started the engines up, they sounded beautiful, and the boat's up and running, it's on the plane, it's already going very well. So we knew that we had a good combination here of new and old. Yeah, this new and old really has brought this boat into the new age. To do even half of the performance that it has now, the old power would have had to been pretty much near maximum to perform like this thing does. It does it effortlessly now. Never any need to go near full throttle with this boat. Never any need to push to get out of the hole. It just gets up and goes. TDI out of the hole. This thing's singing. It's pushing straight away. So that's actually quite exciting. There's no other product other than Mercury for supply of spare parts, service parts and warranty. Definitely these TDIs, super service friendly. Easier than servicing an outboard motor. I was going to have a mechanical interest in this boat, even though it was old. And for Steve's passion for what his father had done, to bring this boat back in, give it another 20 years of life. Very interesting story to me. So I'm just glad that I was basically towed along. We didn't push a repower onto Steve. It just naturally progressed. But to be part of that, to get this boat back up and running, to see the smiles, you could see on his face, he was happy. That makes me happy. The repower was successful. Smiles all around.